Today, I'll show how to turn this into this. Welcome back to the 6th Gear Garage. Look at these old, gross, dirty, worn center caps. I got these with the old, gross, corroded wheels I showed how to refinish in the last video. Now it's time to refinish these to match. First, I wiped them all down with paint thinner because it was the only thing that took off all the grime. The usual wax and grease remover didn't cut it this time. You can see they're clean, but there's areas where the silver paint is completely missing. And these brown areas showing through are the weathered bare plastic. The remaining paint is still holding on well to the plastic, so there's no need to strip these down completely. This one must be newer. It's in nice shape with a gold logo. The first thing I'm going to do is scuff up the remaining paint using a scuff pad. This will make a good surface for the new paint to bite to. I'll put a link to this in the description. It's the medium abrasive, and I've got a fine scuff pad here too. I prefer the scuff pads over sandpaper for surfaces with a lot of contours and edges like these center caps. Sandpaper just doesn't bend as well. This works a lot better. First, I scuffed the surface with the medium pad and found I missed some grease on the back of one of the center caps. I want to scuff all these until the surface is dull. This is looking pretty good, but look over here. That edge is still pretty glossy, and we know paint doesn't bond well to glossy surfaces. That's better. Now, I just need to make them all look like that. Then I did the same thing with the fine scuff pad. Alright, now the surfaces are completely scuffed. First with the medium pad, then the fine pad, to even out any deeper scratches left from the more coarse medium pad. Now, I'm going to clean them with some surface cleaner. If you already have wax and grease remover, it'll work fine. Just wiping them down with a towel. Yeah, look at that. This was still pretty dirty after the paint thinner. Get in these grooves. I imagine the scuff pads probably loosened up some dirt from the surface as well. I wiped them all down and gave the cleaner time to evaporate. So far I've had these sitting on this piece of wood, but it's dusty from overspray when I painted the wheels. So I'll use some aerosol cans to raise these caps up so I can spray the edges better and not kick up any dust from the wood when I'm spraying. I have some Duplicolor adhesion promoter. It's a clear primer for plastics. I used it when I repaired and painted the bumper on the Acura, and it's perfect for plastic center caps. I got a lot of areas where the bare plastic is showing, and most paints don't bond well to bare plastic. So I'm just spraying a light, even coat on each cap, getting the sides and the top. No need to go heavy. The great thing about this adhesion promoter is that it dries really fast. I'll put a link to this in the description. And done. And of course, always hold the can upside down and spray when you're done, and that'll clear out the nozzle before it dries. Now you can see 3 of these caps are darker in color, and they're also very splotchy with all the missing paint. This one looks new. I'm going to make them all the same with primer sealer. Primer sealer is perfect to use over a non-uniform surface to make it consistent. Sometimes painting a color coat over a splotchy surface can result in some of those different color areas showing through. And I've got a variety of surfaces here. This already looks better, and this is just the first coat. No need to go heavy. I can still barely see where some of the bare plastic was, and I'll get those on the next coat. Alright, I'll let these dry for 10 minutes. That was one coat, now for the second. Looking at the sides, close up, I definitely need to spray more in these recessed areas. Okay, these are looking good now. Something's in the primer there. Looks like a piece of fuzz. I'll sand that out. Something here too. But I can rub that one off. It wasn't under the primer. I've got some wet or dry sandpaper here, 400 grit, and I'll take care of that. It doesn't take much sanding. And done. I exposed a little bit of plastic there. Next, I sanded down all the blemishes I could find. And this is just a quick spot coat of the primer sealer to cover any of those areas where I started to expose the plastic underneath. I spread these out a little to give myself more room to paint. And I'll be using the same VHT cast aluminum that I used on the wheels in the last video. And if you remember, the original nozzle quit working, so I used one from a prep spray can. And now this thing sprays out a ton of paint, like real fast. See, I'm trying to do a light coat and I'm completely covering the center cap. Spraying from farther away helps some. If I didn't need these to match my wheels, I'd just use a different color. But this can is probably 15 years old, and I don't know if the new ones are an exact match. A little too heavy on that one. And this one's not covered all the way, and that's fine for the first coat. Same here. Here too. It's a little cool today, mid-50s, so I'm giving these a little extra time to dry between coats. Alright, coat 2. I'm trying to stay far back. This helps. It's good to shake the can after every minute or so of use. It keeps the pigment mixed, and that's especially important for metallic colors. So far, so good. I really like the brightness of this silver. I've got some paint leaking at the nozzle, as long as it doesn't drip on the center caps. Third and final coat of color. This is the wet coat. I'm also really working on filling in any light areas. The wet coat should be a little on the heavy side to help fill in any areas of overspray or orange peel, but not heavy enough to run. It's kind of a gamble, especially with the nozzle on this can. You can see those recessed areas look good, nice and glossy. This one's a little too heavy. You can see the silver is a little splotchy, but we'll see how it dries. The gloss looks great. This one's good, and this one's pretty good. Just a tiny bit of that splotchiness like the other one had. Now it's time for the details. Just like in the wheel video, I'm using all enamel paints, including this gloss black, so I don't have to worry about it wrinkling or lifting when I apply it with a brush. And I have a variety of small brushes here. These two smaller ones look good. I'll go with this slightly larger one. I think these logos would look good in black to match the wheels and the black trim on the 80. Going real slow and taking my time. Okay, I underestimated how difficult this would be. All the old timers that hand paint pinstripes on hot rods, I already respect your work, but after trying this, it's now a whole nother level of respect. This paint seems kind of thick. This would be a little easier if it flowed a little more. I added some mineral spirits to the Rust-Oleum to make it a little thinner. That really helped the paint flow better within the logo and self-level. On the second cap, I used the smallest brush, and that, combined with the slightly thinner paint, was the perfect combination. This cap seemed to go a lot faster than the first. I went ahead and painted the ring around the logo too. I think they look complete now. I've got to get some clear on these things before the hour recoat window expires. I'm using Duplicolor gloss wheel paint, the same as I used on the wheels. It's also in enamel, so all coats need to be applied within an hour, waiting 10 minutes per coat. I'll put a link for the gloss clear in the description. Just a light coat to start with. Then I applied another light coat for the second coat of clear. Alright, the second coat has dried, and I'm liking the way these are looking so far. I could use a little more gloss though, and the wet coat will take care of that. It's time for the wet coat, the most rewarding part of painting. I'm turning these as I go, just to be sure I'm getting enough clear in all the recessed areas. I'm going heavy, but not heavy enough to cause a run or a sag. Those are most likely to happen on the vertical surfaces. I'm laying it down heavy on the faces because runs don't happen on flat surfaces. And done. Look at that gloss. It's wet, so it will dull down some as it cures. This one's a tiny bit cloudy, just like when I did the wheels. That's just from such a heavy coat, and that slight haziness will clear up as the paint cures. I see a tiny piece of dust on there too. I'm not touching it though. I'll only make it 10 times worse at this point. Clean the nozzle and let these caps dry for an hour or so. Then bring them inside to cure for 7 days. Just like I did after I let the wheels cure for 7 days, I let the caps cure for a week, and then I put a coat of wax on them. The wax isn't anything special, just an old yellow carnauba wax I use for wheels. Just wax on and wipe off. I find the paste holds up longer than a liquid. I'll put a link in the description. I'm happy with the way these turned out. Let's go see how they look on the 80 series. It's almost a crime to cover up this beautiful full floating rear axle. But now the refinished wheels look complete. What do you guys think? Center caps or no center caps? Either way, after seeing them installed, I'm glad I painted those circles around the logo. Let me know if you have any questions or comments. I read them all. And please give this a thumbs up if you found it helpful. Also, consider subscribing for more how-to videos and project vehicle updates here at the 6th Gear Garage. Thanks for watching.